Hey, man, we back at it again with another special guest. Bro, we back at it again. Hey, man,
what's going on, Nathan?
Hey, football's is back, basically, right? Like today was the Hall of Fame game. It's pretty official. It's pretty.
Bro,
official,
my dad
man.
called me and was like, "How about them Chargers?" I'm like, "Bro, get out of here." He's like, "I'm a little scared. They look strong." I'm like, "Oh, Trey Lance is the next coming to Mahomes." Yeah.
Oh man, don't let the preseason fool you. Don't let the preseason fool you, man.
The Raiders been preseason champs since 2007.
Man, who you telling, man? But you know, at the end of the day, man, we gonna be back at it. Don't forget to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We are back for another edition of Around the Shield, man, and we got a special guest, man. We got Raider Primos in the building, man.
What's going on? Salute.
What's going on, man? Hey, man, how you doing, bro? How you been, man? Last week we were on your show, man. We got to return the favor. Hey, man, Around the Shield, like we have always said that this is a show where we kind of connect with everybody around at RaiderNation. But what's going on with you, man?
Dude, I was just thinking about, like, this show needed to happen with us three because last week we went deep dive into the Christian Wilkins situation, Cole Miller,
right?
Like, when is he going to get that extension? And then a week later, like, it's like this is like the part two to that conversation.
Man, Yeah, now facts. And there's some interesting, I guess we can say, updates to that conversation with Christian Wilkins. We'll get into that. Obviously, training camp update, things that we're hearing. We'll get into that and all that good stuff. But well, I guess hey man, salute to everybody pulling up. Let's man, salute to the night crew, man, because hey man, it officially it is night, bro. We gotta say what's up to everybody, man. We got my 2 cents in the building. Says salute, Severe Raider. Alex says football is back, man. Salute. What's going on? We got Raiders 331 in the building. Let's go Raiders, man. I got you, bro. Man, appreciate you coming through. Hey, Silent Mitchell, man, he's been waiting for you. He's like, Severe about to give it to us straight. Can always count on Severe to give us no BS information, man. Hey, man, that's what's up, bro. He's ready for the show.
Man. Appreciate that.
Rick Rock in the building says, yo, salute to Pharaoh Raider, Severe Raider, also the Silverback Raider Nation. Man, everybody pulling up, man. We got everybody pulling up, man. We appreciate everybody coming through, but make sure to clock in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I guess, let's not waste any time, man. Let's get into the conversation of training camp. Let's just start there. We'll talk about Christian Wilkins in a second, but man, actually, you know what too? I forgot to mention, literally the thumbnail, the title, Cole Miller was officially extended, so that was something that we were wondering about. Like, man, they didn't draft the offensive lineman until later in the 3rd round, and it's more of a project player. They could have drafted an offensive lineman at 6. That was kind of like some of the, rumors that the Raiders are going to draft early on, but they didn't do that. And the leverage went out the window. So I'm like, are the Raiders really going to let Kolton Miller walk and not have an answer at left tackle? We have our answer. Spytech went ahead and signed him to an average of $22 million a year contract, a 3-year extension. In totality, he's going to be a Raider for the next 4 years. So, I mean, Primos, man, what's up, bro? Like, what do you think of the move? Did you want Cole Miller to come back?
Looking at the contract, 3-year contract extension, $66 million with $42.5 million in guaranteed. And now, here's the thing that scares me is injuries. He hasn't been healthy recently, but when he is on the field, when he is healthy, he shows why he was a first-round pick back in 2018. And he's protecting probably the most important side of a quarterback, and that is Geno Smith's blind side. Mm-hmm. So he deserves to get paid the money, but what scares me is that is he going to get injured again? Will he play a full season in 2025? Now, judging by this offseason, and I don't know if you guys seen the presser today, he is in great shape. And he has been in the building, putting in that work, trying to not just give 100%, but give 110%. He's, showing himself as a leader, guiding the rookies under his wing. I like what I see out of Kolton Miller going into 2025. He deserved this contract. And if he wasn't going to get it from us, he was going to get it from somebody else. But also, man, salute to Spytech. Does the Raiders finally have a general manager, a real general manager, taking care of his guys? Now, he didn't have the free agency that a lot of people wanted, including myself, but I kind of expect it because I was probably the one person that said you need to build this thing through the draft. The Raiders have always tried through free agency, but I am giving 100% credit to Spytech here, and this is just another nail that you could put on the board of why he is a good GM so far in his little time here as a Raiders GM. The draft that he had, signing the player, re-signing his guys, getting max guaranteed money locked up, getting Kolton locked up, and now we're hearing Jacoby Myers is in extensions talks with us. I don't think as Nation likes to criticize front office a lot. I think Spytech so far he's done one hell of a job in the front office. So glad we locked him up, and then I look at Spytech giving him all his flowers.
Nah, facts. I agree, man. I can't get mad at Spytech so far. I mean, it feels like he kind of takes his time. He doesn't rush into situations. He's not going to do a move that he's not comfortable with. Obviously, you've seen the amount of free agents that walked this year. We thought we were going to probably keep some of them. We literally didn't keep almost none of them. I mean, we brought back Adam Butler. We tendered, Palomao. And extended Max Crosby, which is a given. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna try to mention that, but for the most part, like it seems like he wants to build this in the way he sees this team being built. Like he has a vision along with Pete Carroll. But I'm gonna lean towards Spite because he's the GM. He's the guy that's gonna be his job. His task is to build this roster. So it's kind of interesting the way he's going about it. He let the offseason like kind of speak for itself. And a guy like Kolton Miller, he kind of did the wait and see approach. You know, maybe he wasn't sure. Like, was this a guy that he wanted to bring into the building? Is this the type of care? He didn't know too much about Kolton Miller, so he doesn't want to hand out money like that. And he didn't really properly evaluate the guy. And I guess the entire offseason, Kolton Miller could have handled it a certain way. He could have held out like some of these players, or demand a trade like some of these players are doing right now. Like, you know, shout out to Scary Terry out there and with the Commanders, who right now he's out there demanding a trade, and rightfully so. I mean, I guess, you know, he feels like he's a pretty valuable piece on that offense. But you know, there's obviously a disconnect with them. But that's not how Kolton Miller handled it. He showed up to every OTA practice almost. I mean, I think there was a question if he was gonna hold out. Maybe he missed the voluntary, but he was there for the majority of the offseason.
And he said communication was good between him and the front office too, between his guys in the front office. So that's also good to hear. Yeah.
And then, you know, this Christian Wilkins situation happened, and I'm sure they try to find a way to free up some money so they feel comfortable to give, you know, all the guarantees to Kolton Miller, which they went ahead and did. And we're hearing word on the street is Myers is next. So, which I'm not mad at. Myers is definitely a guy that I feel like fits within the building. Like, I think every coach would want him. Every team would want a Jacoby Myers. So it was a good sign-in. Especially if you look at it from this perspective, like, what were the answers? The Raiders kind of made their choice by drafting the players and like going after certain players in free agency. And they kind of left themselves to, okay, we have to, they kind of, I want to say, push themselves in a corner with Kolton Miller. Because what was the obvious answer? Replacement at left tackle. Some people might say Charles Grant, but we don't know what that's going to look like. You know, he's a
roll out there guessing, and then hope you get a top pick because Gino's getting sacked so much. Right. I don't know if the answer was the draft. It scared me too, but I think it was also other contracts. You know, you got, I think someone said in the chat, you got Slater coming up on a contract. So you got a couple of these tackles coming up on contracts, and you don't want one thing, like you said, Spytek doesn't wait. He
got
doesn't
extended. He got extended.
Oh, Slater, but the price was high though, right?
The reason why, like, the Raiders, this is a smart move to do it now, because all the, like, recently, and Severe could probably speak to this, like, a lot of the offensive linemen were getting extensions. A lot of offensive linemen from there was an offensive lineman, a left tackle from the Colts. You got I think from the Packers. Slater also signed. So it kind of what happened was, I think Kolton Miller's market was starting to formulate a little bit. So if the Raiders were to wait an entire season and he balled out, guess where that number was gonna go up. It wasn't gonna go down. So I think it was a perfect time to sign him. And another thing about Kolton Miller I was gonna mention, but man, I lost my train of thought. But Severe, man, what's your thoughts on the signing, man? Did you think it was the right move?
Yeah, man. I've been saying it this entire time. Like, I think they should have been done it. They might have even been able to get it done for a little bit cheaper had they got it done a little bit earlier. And obviously these other contracts coming in, you know, the market's going up, so it probably puts his price tag up a little bit. I think right now he's like 5th or 6th in the league in terms of tackles. But by the time other guys get paid, it'll probably push him down to the 10 range, maybe a little bit outside the top 10, which is where he just was. But yeah, man, like, this is something I've been saying the entire time. Like, spend your money on guys like this, on guys like Kolton Miller, on guys like Jacoby Myers. These guys are cultural foundational pieces, right? You're talking about building a culture. And I think, you know, some of the beat writers were saying it. Like, you know, it would set a bad precedent if you didn't bring back a guy like Kolton Miller, who's a solid player, solid to good player at his position, top 10 to 15 as a player, but also drama free, great in the locker room, a leader, like all of the things that you claim you want for this franchise, and then you turn around and not pay that guy like that wouldn't look good, and it would make it look like everything you're talking about is fugazi, like it's just all talk, and you're just this is like the time to put your money where your mouth is, literally, by paying guys like Kolton Miller and Jacoby Myers. So we hear that Jacoby Myers in the works. Hopefully we get that done soon, because like you said, like there wasn't really many options. Like obviously Kolton Miller is going to have to play this year out, and he will probably play well, and then he leave in free agency, and then you're looking at Charles Grant, hoping he developed after this year, or you have to fall back on Thayer Munford at the end of this year. Like neither one of those are ideal options. So the Raiders painted themselves in the corner basically, and but they did the right thing. And at the end of the day, sometimes we worry about process, but as long as you get the results, we can't complain about that. And having Kolton Miller around this franchise for the next 4 years, I think it's a 3-year extension, so it's this year plus 3 additional years. So having them in the silver black for the next 4 years, that's a beautiful thing.
Nah, facts. And another thing with Kolton, people, I know you mentioned injuries. The thing is that I think then for Kolton Miller's entire career, he's only missed 7 games. So, and that was literally like a 2023 season, and then you include the 2024 season where he's kind of getting back to health. He was out there, but he wasn't himself the first few weeks of the season. But then like he kind of locked in and he played well towards the end, to the better half of the season. So I think they looked at that, and offensive tackles, they're one of those positions too that it ages well. Like if you're going to invest in a player that's aging, that's like a premium position where you still can give out a good contract and get your get your money's worth, so to speak. So I think Kolton Miller, that is a good move. I'm not saying that he's an elite left tackle, but he's a good player. You can argue maybe at his best, maybe top 10 at best. I think maybe right now, maybe top 15. You can safely say top 15.
Top 15. Yeah.
Top 15.
Yeah, top in that 10 to 15 range.
Yeah.
But what's so great about this? Because, well, first of all, this is a great move for the Raiders. Like you said, we solidified that side of the offensive line. He may not be elite, but you're not worried about upgrading. You're not thinking like, damn, we got to get a left tackle. Like that's not a position you worried about. And then it's good for Kolton because, as you said, he'll get another bite at the apple. He'll probably get like another late year, because he'll be like 33 at the end of his contract, I believe. So he can still get another three good years at that age at tackle. So and Kolton and Jacoby, like when you're building a franchise, like those are the guys you want. Guys that are like, you want a team full of those guys that like may not be elite, but they're like good, and you don't got to worry about them. Because then when they're in that range, they're not going to be super expensive, but they're probably going to outproduce. Like after that first year or so, they're going to outplay their contract. So then you have like good guys on value contracts. So if you build an entire, other than quarterback, like that's what you want just about across the board. Like good guys that like are real solid players, maybe not like the best players, but they're very solid. And you sprinkle in 1 or 2 guys that are elite. Like that's that's basically the Eagles. Like like you got an elite wide receiver in AJ Brown. Like everybody else, the wide receiver is pretty good to solid, and they got they got Jordan Mailata is probably, or I guess Lane Johnson you consider like elite at that position. The rest of the offensive line, like just real solid guys, and on defense it's like Jalen Carter, then like some other good guys, but like no superstars. Like that's essentially their entire team is like that. So like that's what you want to build. Like you want to build just good guys across the board with 1 or 2 elite guys, and then you really have a chance to compete.
Yeah, and then another thing too is like for Kolton Miller to be signed to an extension, we didn't have any answer. We didn't have no immediate answer. We didn't know where we were gonna go. Like there wasn't like another option like that we can see clearly right now. Other than like, oh man, we're gonna have to spend our first round pick on an offensive lineman. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna have to maybe overpay for a guy in free agency that might be maybe close to Kolton Miller, maybe a notch, like maybe not as good. See, so that's why I feel like it's a good move. And then another thing with Kolton Miller too is that I was just thinking about something. Man, hey, shout out to everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, I was just thinking about but real quick, man, let's get into training camp. I'll come back to it, but let's get into training camp. The big news right now, I would say, there's been a lot of positivity coming out of training camp, from like the energy in the building, people excited, everybody's saying the right things, defense and offense is going back and forth. But since we're talking about offensive line, the big news coming out of training camp, the big battle that's happening right now is between who would have thought, Meredith and JPJ. I got JPJ, we kind of penciled in at that center spot, but they're going back and forth. Actually today, I think Meredith was starting out in center, and they, for the first time, they moved JPJ to guard. So prior to this, JPJ was running with the second team at center anytime Meredith was starting at center. Now they were like, you know what, let's put Meredith at center and move JPJ with the ones at right guards, replacing Kappa. Primos, what do you think of the move?
At first, I was thinking there's nothing to read into this, seeing the first report. But then I thought about it, iron sharpens iron. Like, Meredith is trying to one-up JPJ. JPJ's like, no, I want that first. I want to start with the ones come week one. I want that job. So and we've seen what Meredith did last year. He was solid. He was solid on a line and in a season that we didn't have a lot to cheer about. And he was, with the one line next to JPJ at the center position. So I'm thinking, now that I'm hearing that JPJ is now at right guard starting on that line, why not have two of your best, or two, other than Kolton Miller, of course, but two of your best on that line. Put Meredith and JPJ together rather than, okay, JPJ, you'll be the backup, or Meredith, you'll be the backup. Let's make this O-line more better than it already could be. Right now we have that left side kind of, it was basically filled up. You got Kolton Miller at the blind side, you had JPJ at the center position, and then I believe it was either it was going to be Parham, I think, at left guard that was starting. So your left side is pretty solid. Your right side is probably what scares it, other than GJ Glaze. But that right guard position, that's a question mark. That was a question mark through this entire season. If you pencil in JPJ at right guard, and let's say JPJ he plays guard pretty well this season. Now you got all five linemen. It's a wall around Gino. You give Gino time. That's where this offense is even more dangerous. That's where Genty can, the holes open up. Genty can do what Genty does. It starts in the trenches, and I think that's what Pete is seeing. I think that's what Chip is seeing, and they're like, man, JPJ and Meredith are really solid offensive linemen. Why not have them on the same line instead of having one the backup, one as the starter? So I like it. I love the competition. Do we see this in the preseason? Me personally, I would love to see it if that's something they're experiencing. I would love to see it in the preseason rather than experimenting with it in the regular season and it possibly not work.
Nah, hey, man, I agree. And before I chime in on this as well, Severe, this is the point that I was trying to make. Grant could take 2 to 3 years to develop. See, now that makes sense. Now this pick makes more sense. A lot of people are calling Charles Grant offensive tackle that we drafted in the third round, at the end of the third round with Charles Rogers. Now it makes more sense because everybody was saying that, Charles Grant was going to be more of a project, going to take some time to develop. Now he doesn't have to be rushed. Now you can develop him behind a Kolton Miller. And also it gives time for the Raiders to figure out the answer for what after Kolton Miller. Are they going to re-sign him again? Maybe not. Maybe this might be the last contract that, the Raiders give to Kolton Miller. It's going to be like, a 3-4 year contract. So I'm assuming I'm not sure if he's going to probably want to continue playing football. There's a good chance he might retire, hang it up, whatever the case may be. But you have a Charles Grant who's developing. And on top of that, it gives time for the Raiders to okay, this might be, as they're kind of filling out the roster, this might be the year that we might have to draft a guy in the first round, or we might draft a guy early, if Charles Grant is more of a swing tackle, you know what I mean? Or he's better on the right side, whatever the case may be. Like, the Raiders now kind of created more of a cushion of what they can do at that tackle spot for years to come. But going back to the battle that's happening between Meredith and JPJ, I think this is all about putting the best five out there. Straight up, like, it's just about putting the best five out there. I don't think they don't view Meredith as a guard. They don't feel as highly confident about. Well, I won't say confident, but they like the other options out there at guard, and they kind of project him more as a center, and they're trying to see what it looks like for him to be out there. But they're going out there they're having him play with the ones. So this is a real battle, and they like him as a player. For them to put him out there against JPJ, who we thought was going to be, no question, start at center. But the other day, Adam Butler, we talked about on the 50-50 show, Severe. We talked about when he made that comment saying that, when he was asked about the battle that was happening between Meredith and JPJ, he said JPJ, man, whenever he decides to, he's an all-pro guard. So I don't know if he was supposed to say that, because right after he said that comment, he told the reporter, he was like, if you don't mind, that's all I would like to say for today. And it was just, he kind of shut down the questions after that.
And I caught that too. I was like, are they putting JPJ at guard? And I want him to. That's what I was going to think is I want to see in the preseason Meredith start at center, JPJ start at guard, Meredith start at guard, JPJ start at center. Like, I want to see this experiment in the preseason, in the joint practice against the Niners. I want to see that. So come week 1, like you said, Pharaoh, the best five is out there.
Yeah, facts, man. What do you think of the move, Severe? Do you think that this is going to be a big ego hit to JPJ, who obviously has been outspoken about playing that center spot? We've seen him on Max Crosby's podcast, saying that like I'm a center. You know what I mean? Like, I went up to AP respectfully and told him, because they were looking at at the time Andre James got hurt, and they were looking at some other guy who barely played the position, and he was like, nah, hell nah. He won an award in college at center. Like, he was like, I'm gonna be center, and he made it.
He wanted Chris Jones, bro. He wanted to put Chris Jones on his ass. That's what he wanted.
That's the position that he wants to play personally.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this will be a problem moving forward, or do you feel like JPJ will be fine at guard, or where do you see JPJ? Where do you think where do you see him succeed?
So obviously JPJ's best position is center. I mean, I think that goes without saying. He's best at center. I think, he is the best center on the Raiders roster. But as you said, no, this is not about necessarily who wins, who's best at center. It's about putting the best five out there. Mm-hmm. And the combination of Meredith at center and JPJ at right guard is, the Raiders view that as better than JPJ at center and Meredith at right guard, or JPJ at center and Cap at right guard. And that's what it comes down to. How JPJ feels about this, I don't know, because you think about it, as you alluded to, he essentially went up to AP and respectfully told him, I'm playing center. I'm unanimous All-American. I'm a Remington Award winner at center. Like, I want to play center. When he first met Ashton Genty, he introduced himself. Hey, I'm JPJ. I'm your starting center. He went down to Florida to work out with Geno Smith and train with Geno Smith because of how important the relationship is between a center and the quarterback. So to do all of that, be the best center on the roster, put in the extra work, put in extra time, be attached with Max Crosby, the team's best player, emotional and cultural leader on the team, be attached to him at the hip, put in all this work, and then be told, hey, we're moving you positions. Somebody's it's going to feel something, right? Whether you're a team player or not, whether you're selfless or not, you're going to feel some kind of way about that. So how he reacts to it, that remains to be seen. But obviously the Raiders felt this was the move that benefited the team the best. As we were just talking about how well Spytech was doing, how Primos was talking about how well Spytech was doing this offseason. Obviously the big wart on this offseason now was the signing of Alex Kappa, because we gave him $5.5 million to essentially sit on the bench or quite possibly get cut and go home. So I mean, I think that was, and we said it, and it's not like that's an unforced error. Like, not like he was good last year or has been good in any of the past like 2 years. He's been pretty bad the last 2 years, disastrous last year, and we still gave him $5.5 million. And I think he's getting paid more than Adam Butler. So we gave this guy $5.5 million. He's getting paid more than Adam Butler, and he's not gonna. There's a very good chance he doesn't play. I mean, he doesn't see the field. So I just think that that we said it at the time. It was a bad signing. Nobody liked it. It was universally panned, and it's showing and proving to be a pretty bad signing. But in the otherwise, stellar offseason. But I'll see how JPJ reacts to it, man. I know there's a video of him stretching, and like Pete Carroll comes up to him and pushes him down, trying to play with him, and like you can tell his reaction. He was like, "Okay, it's my head coach. I don't want to do nothing." But it's one of those situations like, yeah, man, like don't be touching me like that. Like don't yell at me and then try to be like, oh man, you're still my guy, you're still my big. Like, nah, bro, don't basically demoted me, and you kind of know this is very likely going to be the starting lineup because they've been kind of alternating every other day. It's been, hey, JPJ started the first day in pads. He was at starting center. Second day in pads, it was Jordan Meredith, and I think they had that day off. And then, so today should have been JPJ day at center, but instead it was still Jordan Meredith, but JPJ at right guard. So it looks like it's trending. So it's looks like it's trending toward that being the starting lineup, especially with we're a week and some change away from a preseason game.
Yeah, and someone I'm trying to bring up the comment again. I think it was my 2 cents says it's not competition, it's a coaching decision due to coming up short on obtaining the guard. Yeah, man. I think having Alex Kappa at right guard has this kind of like I don't know if that's gonna work out just due to recent history. I mean, obviously he has some history of success in the NFL, but as a recent history, last year he was struggling. So I'm not sure if they feel 100% comfortable with him at guard. You would think, we thought that it would be between Parham and Meredith, but we haven't seen Meredith and Parham switch off. And I think, I seen, shout out to Marcus from TDL. I think he was saying that I think Parham is at 332 pounds. So he's put on some weight. I think I'm gonna check Raiders.com. So he's added some weight, but either way, my point is that there hasn't been. We could double check that, but there hasn't been like a back and forth between Meredith and Parham in training camp so far. It's been mostly at the center spot, and I think that's them trying to take a look at him. It's still early in the training camp, but man, like you said, man, like it just seems like that's where they're heading, and JPJ, and they feel comfortable. Like JPJ, unfortunately, like he's a guy that they can move to center or guard and feel good about. But like Meredith is not a guy that they probably feel good at guard, but maybe at center. So like I said to begin this whole conversation, what I said earlier, it's all about putting the best five out there. It's all about putting the best five out there, and that's all that really matters. But I want to play this clip real quick. Thayer Munford was able to talk to the media today, and he had an interesting quote where he kind of talked about last year's coaching staff compared to this year's coaching staff. And one of the things I'm kind of excited about this season is Chip Kelly. And Chip Kelly, like if he's lights out, then that means every player that we have on offense will be that much better. Every idea, everything that we could think of, like, oh man, Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, all that's going to come to fruition because we have an offensive coordinator that'll be able to put the players in the right position and call the right plays. But I'm going to go ahead and play this clip and we'll talk about it. Oh, hold on 1 second. My bad. Hold on 1 second. Man, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. Alex says there's a lot of competition at guard right now. I would be more concerned about the second string tackles. Who is a swing tackle right now? Glaze obviously is a right tackle.
Thayer.
With Thayer Munford maybe, but then I seen him last I heard they were trying him at guard. I guess they're probably moving him around. a little bit,
They're
but
moving them around. Yeah.
yeah.
Because the thing about on game day was you get 48 active on game day, so
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be able to carry backup guards and backup tackles. So somebody's going to have to be swing tackle and swing guard. So you're probably getting them exposure everywhere, just in case. You never know what's going to happen. No, I think, but before we jump into that, I would just say this: it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I will say last year JPJ, he was playing guard for the very same reason, right? Mm-hmm. He was the best center on the roster. Like everybody recognized that, but he was playing guard because Andre James was there, and it was to put our best five out there. So, and I think everybody universally said Andre James was the weak link on the offensive line. So, not saying that that's going to be merited this year, but a lot of people had problems with the offensive line, especially the interior offensive line last year, due in large part to Andre James being a weak link. And Andre James was playing guard, he was playing center because we were trying to put our best five out there. And when it probably should have been JPJ playing that position.
So the reality is do you want Kappa at right guard and JPJ at center and Parham at left guard and Cole Miller at left and Glaze at right tackle? Or do you want obviously Miller, Parham, Meredith at center, then JPJ and then Glaze? So either Kappa goes into the starting lineup or you remove him and put Meredith in the starting lineup. So it just depends on who you feel like is a better offensive lineman at this point.
Yeah. I prefer Meredith. I mean, I prefer. Obviously, they don't think Meredith can play guard. I would prefer Meredith at guard, JPJ at center. I think you maximize what JPJ is at center. I think I've already been saying. I think within these next 2 years, he's going to be, top 3 center in the league. But now you might not even play that position at all. So we'll see. So it's just a situation where I understand what they're doing. It's a logical move. But if you're preaching competition, and there's a guy that clearly beat somebody else in that competition, and he still doesn't get that job, it may be like the rest of the team, they'll understand it because it's, hey, you know what, we got to do what's best for the team. But there's going to be a piece of that guy that holds some resentment toward that, because if there's a promise made that if I'm the best, I'm going to play, and then you don't play. That's going to affect the person mentally.
Yeah. Real quick, man. So we were just talking about for just a second Thayer Munford. So I'm gonna go ahead and play a clip from Thayer Munford from today's presser, and you guys can let me know what your thoughts are in just a second. Here we go. Okay, can y'all hear it?
Nah.
Oh man. Oh, that's weird.
It's low. We can hear it. It's low. Turn it up a little bit. Turn my headphones up.
Let me.
Still a little bit low. Let me highlight. Let me see what's up with the chat. What's going on? Let's go up a little bit.
Hold on, man.
Appreciate
y'all can't hear it. Y'all can't hear it.
Nah, still low. So cousin who? Yeah, football is back. We're not worried about mock draft yet. We do need somebody to emerge as swing tackle, Alec. Hopefully that's Thayer. Myra, my birthday was yesterday. You should not still be drinking today. You should stop. But appreciate it. No, Brandon, I'm not defining you in JPJ at guard. I think he could be a good guard. I just think he's better at the center position. Yeah, definitely. Appreciate you, Jack. My birthday was yesterday. Appreciate you. Yeah, Mike Jackson, Leo gang, baby. You know what time it is. Yeah, Spoon. It was yesterday. RaiderNation 510. It might be a situation he's better at reading the defense. He's not that much of a veteran. I don't think he's been in the league that long. But some of the beat writers were talking about Meredith today, and they said like he moves really well. This is an offense where they do pull the guards in the center a lot. So his movement skills are going to pay dividends. And generally, your center it doesn't require him to be quite as big as your guard. So you have a guy like JPJ, who's big but still pretty mobile, but he's a little bit stronger at the point of attack. So maybe the reasoning there was that, hey, you know what, Meredith may not be able to hold up against some of the bigger interior defensive linemen in the league. JPJ can, and he still has those movement skills where Meredith's movement skills, even though he's a little bit lighter, can kind of help him out at the center position. So we kind of got to see. Hopefully it works out. I think it is the best 5 out there right now. My hope was that Caleb Rogers would eventually take over for Alex Kappa, but now, he for damn sure ain't taking over for JPJ. So
No, I mean, I agree with the line that you had, which was JPJ at center and then Meredith played the guard spot. But then you do have to look at like, well, then why the hell you bring Alex Kappa here? Like
they shouldn't have.
Yeah, they shouldn't have from the get go. So now they're stuck in this position where you're not utilizing JPJ to his full ceiling at the center position. We literally seen what happened. Like you said, we seen what happened last season. He started at the guard position, then he went to the center position, and just by what he did at the center position, I said it too. I agreed with you, Zavir. Top 3 center, like for years to come. And it's funny because it's like, well, that was a dream because he's not even going to play that position.
All right, here we go. So hopefully the volume is going to be better. Let me know if y'all can hear it in just a second here. It's still low.
Can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. Okay, so pretty much the quote is that he started the quote by saying, "Oh yeah, I love last year's coaches, but sometimes they weren't making the right call." He said basically was implying. He also went on to say that Chip Kelly is a guy that he feels like 100% confident and trusts that he's going to put him in the best position to succeed. So he kind of took a shot at last year's coaching staff, which you can probably say it was
staff.
Yeah. You probably could say it was more so on the guys that probably were fired during the season. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was probably the main thing. But that for some reason I can't play the audio. But
I actually heard that presser. Yeah, he said there were times where the plays that were called weren't the right plays for the situation, essentially, and like everybody kind of knew it wasn't the right play. So and but they would still, they still go out there and do it. And I think the guy asked him, like, hey, with Chip Kelly, like, does that confidence you have in him, like, make you more confident when you're actually going out there and executing what he's calling? And he's like, yeah, just because it's his communication and because you trust him and how much he studies. He's like, even if it's the right call, they'll go back and he's going to take a look at it and look at where it went wrong and then be able to correct it the next time. So Thayer Munford, he's been with this team through three regimes now. They've moved him from he's played at basically every position on offensive line except for center. They recently moved him from tackle to guard, and I think he's going to make a really good guard. I think he'll be able to guard the front door for a hotel, maybe a big guard the entrance to a club, but I don't think he's going to play guard for the Raiders. So he's a guy that I don't see him sticking around too long. I think once Caleb Rogers kind of starts to develop in, I think we'll actually find some other players to eventually replace him because just he's not. I don't think he has the athleticism to really fit in this system that well, but he's kind of the best option we have at the moment.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Let's see if we could share the screen. You see that?
Yeah.
Dylan Parham right here. Let me highlight. 332. He put on some weight.
Put on a bunch of weight. That's 17 pounds, like 312 or something last year. That's like 20 pounds. Hopefully it's all good weight.
Yeah, hopefully he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, he did get bigger. So I don't know if that was like maybe a mandate for some of the offensive line coach. Brandon Carroll probably wanted him to come in a little bit heavier than what he was. Chip Kelly probably wants him a little bit heavier. I don't know if that's going to affect his movement skills because, you know, Chip Kelly probably going to want them guards to move a lot. And Parham, that's probably one of his strengths. But we'll see. But, hey, he's coming in bigger. And I think that right there kind of gave the offense, maybe they gave the offensive line coach and the coaching staff a lot of confidence to be like, you know what? We're going to keep Parham at left guard. You know what I mean? And they feel like, the thing is, they feel like Meredith is too small to play guard. I think that's what Carroll said in the presser, I believe. He basically said, like, they felt like he was a little too small to play that guard spot. We feel like he'd probably be a better fit at center. So I think that's why we're seeing Meredith at center. So we'll see how it shakes out, man. I think that's something that we're going to keep an eye on and see how it shakes out. But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Any other thoughts on what's going on with training camp, Primos? Like anything that you're excited about on what's going on?
This offense, man. Gino had a day today. I seen he had 3 touchdowns. There's a couple clips of him throwing on the 1v1s and him just putting the ball in the perfect placement, especially on those go routes. I don't know about you guys because I'm tired of us running go routes and it's thrown to the fans or it's underthrown. Like, I'm getting tired of that. Like, I feel like we finally got a quarterback that can finally put it in front of the receiver and let them catch it in stride. Because I'm tired of our fans having more receptions on go routes than our actual receivers. Like, it's insane. But I'm excited to see how Gino works in Chip Kelly's offense because, man, it has been boring ass Raiders offense for like the past 2-3 years. Yeah. Like, just nothing to cheer about. Like 1-2-3 punt, 1-2-3 punt, and then maybe we get a 20-yard gain out of it, and then we punt. It has been boring offense. I hope 2025, and I'm optimistic. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid that this offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch come regular season.
Yeah, no, I hope so too, man. I think Gino. It's funny how like expectations really kind of affect our lenses on how good a player is, because like for example, the reason why we're gonna feel good about Geno Smith at quarterback is because of what we had the last few years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I kept telling myself, like, man, bro, 10 years ago, I didn't think I'd be excited Geno Smith being my quarterback.
Yeah. And then, you know, but if you were going back, let's go back to the Derek Carr days. Derek Carr at his best was pretty solid, but we were tired of being pretty solid because we felt like we wanted to upgrade at that position. We had him, he was there for 9 years and yada, yada, yada. You see, so it's all about perspective, and like people sometimes like it's crazy how like people don't notice things like that. But yeah, no, let's talk about receiver. You know, it's kind of a mix. I'm hearing a mix. And the reason why I say I'm hearing a mix is because on one end I hear Dante Thornton he's been the starter at X, starting X receiver. Then on another end I'm hearing Trey Tucker according to some beat writers, people who have been to every training camp practice, is the number 2 guy behind Jacoby Myers. So if you had to predict today, you know what I mean? I'll start with Severe. If you had to predict today, who's the starting X receiver, who would it be? Is it not Jacoby Myers? Is it Dante Thornton or is it Trey Tucker? Or bonus, he's not on the roster. It's going to be a different starting receiver that's not on the roster right now. Come week 1.
I already tell you.
Pharaoh
Look,
shot to
and this
sprinkle that in there.
look,
Giving
man.
the news.
And this is how Raider fans got. We got like I know because people have been speculating. It's like we like Raider fans. We gotta stop this because like however you feel about Christian Wilkins, we cut him, and then we try to find a loophole to not pay him, and then we expect another star player that's in the contract dispute with his team to be, oh, let's go to the Raiders. Like why would they want to come here? Like that's why I keep saying, focus on draft well, keep our guys, because it's going to be a tough road to hoe in free agency. And first of all, we've been striking out, and in the way we've been treating free agents, like I don't think people are going to come here unless we really start winning. But you all know, guys, I know how I feel about Trey Tucker. Wasn't a fan. At the one point, I was speculating he might not even make the roster when I was thinking he was going to be a slot receiver. But I can't. Hey, I gotta call a spade a spade. From what I hear, all accounts, he's been having a heck of a camp. His route tree really worked on it. It's super polished. He's running routes extremely well, still extremely fast, working extremely hard. He's catching the ball well. I heard on one-on-ones, he's like destroying everybody for the most part. Like, so I think if when we go 11, I think it's going to end up being him. What I heard initially was that when we go 11, it was I think it was Dante Thornton they were putting out there, and Michael Mayer was the tight end in those situations. But I think Trey Tucker is going to end up. I think Trey Tucker is going to end up being the guy. I think he's a veteran guy, still blocks extremely well. Also for a guy his size, he's been putting in the work, and I think the improvement he shows. I think he's earned a spot, and that's not a guy I would have expected to be in that position early on. Not a guy I really wanted on this team early on, but he's been showing out and he's proved that he's worthy of that spot, man. So I got to give credit where credit is due.
And the one thing that might be in his favor this year, it's his third year. I'm sure he's pretty comfortable, pretty prepared, and he has Chip Kelly on his side. Like I said, Chip Kelly is going to be the ultimate like joker. Like he's going to be the guy that's going to like, if everything goes well with Chip Kelly, then we can assume a lot of players might have some good years, like from the Michael Mayers and Brock Byers connection. Dante Thornton will be able to have a role on this offense. Trey Tucker, it's kind of hard for me to project Dante Thornton because he's a rookie. We picked him in the third, fourth round, and a lot of we liked the potential, but we didn't know he was gonna contribute this early on. But then I hear Aiden O'Connell like talk about in his presser, like, one of the first things that he noticed about Dante Thornton when he was, obviously playing with him, like he was talking about how like in their QB chat, I guess, they're texting each other to all the other QBs, Geno Smith and everybody else that's on the roster. They're like, Dante is going to be a guy that we can count on this year on the outside. So that says a lot, for a guy that, Aiden O'Connell, who's been in the league for the last few seasons. So he knows what it looks like, who's going to be out on the outside and who can contribute early. So, hey, it's hard, man. I'm not going to lie. Like you could easily say Dante Thornton. I mean, he has what the size that you would want at that outside spot, but he doesn't have the experience, and he's not all the way there from a developmental stage compared to like maybe a Trey Tucker. But I mean, Primos, who you got?
And there's one more thing I didn't mention is like in today's practice, like they were throwing the ball a lot to Trey Tucker over the middle of the field, and that's an area that I'm not sure Dante Thornton is ready to work at. Because I heard there's an earlier practice, maybe the last padded practice where they threw him a pass over the middle of the field. I think maybe it was Jamal Adams out there. I think maybe Jamal Adams out there, and Dante Thornton had a little bit of alligator arms. So it's a situation where it's like,
Okay.
So I think Trey Tucker, that they've been giving the ball over the middle of the field. He's been learning to work the area of the field a little bit better. So, before you make your decision, Primos, I want to throw that in there, give you some little more information, give you something to think about.
It's hard because everything you said, I agree with. Like, I want Tucker on the outside, but then there's that part of me that's like, man, I want Dante on the outside because of that size. Pause if necessary. 6'5", runs a 4.3. Like, that's something you can't coach. You can't coach those measurables. Yeah. Now, what you do need to coach is that route tree, because now we haven't heard any. The last thing we heard something about is route tree, and we heard Dante speak on it, and that he was going to get better at expanding his route tree during mini camp, during training camp. But the thing is, we haven't heard any reports. How's that progress been going? Is there any progress? And they're using Trey Tucker, practicing throwing it over the middle with Trey Tucker, hearing that he expanded his route tree. Because all we've seen from Dante on clips is I see him running a go route. And you said you didn't want to be known for, hey, Dante, just run a go route. You didn't want to be known for that. You wanted to expand on your route tree. Because I'm not hearing anything on the progress of has he expanded his route tree. I think we're gonna see a lot of playing time from him, but I don't think he's gonna be on the outside. I think Trey Tucker, you got the experience there. You got, he's coming in, expanding that route tree. He's not just need for speed, run by guy. It's like, no, he's gonna cook them in their boots too with that speed. So I would rather Tucker be out there, but I would not be surprised if we do get a lot of playing time from Dante as well.
I want to throw this out there because me and Severe had this conversation where we're like, who was going to have a breakout season who wasn't as obvious as the JPJs and the other guys, the Maxes and the Kuntzes. Who was a guy that you feel like was going to have a breakout season? And I think Severe, you saying Michael Mayer and Trey Tucker was the guy that I was saying that was going to have a big season. And that has more to do with my excitement for Chip Kelly. What he can do with the offense. So we'll see, man. Third year is a breakout year. That's what I'm betting on. I mean, but I'm with Severe, man. I wasn't like the biggest fan when he got drafted. I'm like, man, like smallish receiver, but it's not about him being just small. It's like you got what do you said alligator arms, but I think Trey Tucker literally has alligator arms. You talked about Thornton have alligator arms. Yeah. Now he literally has short arms. So but a guy like Chip Kelly, what he's going to do is he's going to put him in a position to succeed. He's going to try to use that speed and the Geno Smith factor. He has a quarterback that's one of the most accurate, if not the most accurate quarterback when throwing it deep. I think statistically, we were looking at the stats earlier in the offseason about Geno Smith. He has the right quarterback for his skill set. If they're going to run deep with whether it's Thornton or Tucker, it's a good combination. And it might be a combination of both. Because at the end of the day, we all know, like, the guys that are going to get the rock the most are going to be, from running the football with Genty, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer is going to be a security blanket. We can see that happening as well. So I think guys like Trey Tucker and Thornton are going to be guys that are going to be stretching the field, making the defense respect their speed and the big play guys. Hopefully, let's hope that's their role. Because if that can be their role, then I'm good with that. Because we got guys that can control the intermediate part of the field. And we didn't talk about one other receiver that was drafted this year, Jack Besh. He's kind of been stepping up. He's been stepping up during these padded practices. So once it got physical, that's when we start hearing his name. So I think that's a good sign because I think that's the name of the game. I mean, when the pads go on, it doesn't matter when you're on wearing shorts and all that type of stuff. Like it matters when the pads are on and they can get physical. And I think that a guy like Jack Besh, I mean, Primos, can you speak to that? Like, do you see him having a big role in this offense, or do you feel like he's kind of like the odd man out with all the pieces that we have in offense?
Man, pause is necessary. You only got so many balls to throw around.
Oh, damn, man. Come on, man.
No, I think
unless you're Christian Wilkins, then you got you got plenty to throw around if you am. The world is your oyster at that point.
Hey, bro, he had 53 dudes up in there, man. He's like, you or you, man. We'll speak on that later. But in regards to Besh having a role in this offense, I think he will. But like I said, it's you got talent like Dante that you want to see what he looks like on the field. You got Bowers already. You got Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer, Genty. It's like, man, there's so much talent on this offense that I think Besh is overkill on this offense. Like, but you also could utilize the spread offense that I think the Raiders have not been able to really utilize since maybe 2016, where we last time had an explosive offense. Where when you use that spread offense, you could have Besh out there, Trey Tucker, Dante. You could have two speed guys out there, which Besh and Jacoby who like to do the dirty work, like, and get physical with the defense. And then you got Bowers out there also that we already know what he brings. It's just there's so much talent on this team that, and Chip Kelly, I think also, Farrell, to your point, Chip Kelly gives me a lot of confidence that he's just not going to let a guy like Besh sit on the bench and not utilize him in this offense. He'll find ways to utilize. If you have talent and you are able to make this offense move the ball downfield, scoring touchdowns, Chip Kelly's going to use you.
Yeah. A lot of the success is going to really depend on Chip Kelly. Some of these guys that we're projecting to have breakout seasons, it's going to depend on Chip Kelly. Guys like Brock Bowers, they're going to get theirs. Genty is going to get theirs because it's just a matter of just handing the ball off to him and give him. They're going to get their numbers just as well as Jacoby and Brock Bowers because those guys are established. But all the other guys, the complimentary players, the guys that like when the Raiders are fine on all cylinders, that's basically Chip Kelly being in his bag, and we have a good offense. Then that means Trey Tucker is going to have a solid season. That means Dante Thornton is going to make some plays. That means Jack Besh is going to be involved. When you have a lot of players being involved, that's a good thing. That means the Raiders are doing something right. So, and that's all going to depend on Chip Kelly at the end of the day, man. But shout out to my guy Raider Smoke with the super chases. Like and sub to the channel. AOC is an okay backup, but there ain't no way he's better than Geno. To Delusion fans, please get some help. MJ, man, I mean, are there fans? Because I guess they're hearing that Aiden O'Connell's in really good shape and he's actually been pretty solid out there. So I think they're hearing that and they're kind of like saying like, oh, I guess what are they? Are they projecting? Are they saying Aiden O'Connell's gonna be the starter? Or I haven't heard that. I mean, that'd be crazy. That's wild.
There are some fans. I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch the presser earlier because I was working, but there were people that were sending me like screenshots from the live chat in the presser of people. Some of them are content creators. Some of them that used to be in our chat saying things like AOC is way better than Geno. Geno sucks, like crazy stuff, and like I support Aiden. I don't think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, at least not like a high level starter, like that I would want for my team. Right. He can start somewhere. I just wouldn't want it to be here. Like, hey, if he gets a starting job, make power to him. Congratulations, hey, good. Hey, hey, out here, you get what you can. You get what you can. So. If he's able to get that, happy for him. But I don't think he should be the guy here. So, but I think he's a high level backup, and he's shown that the ability to come in and produce. And I think that's an ideal role for him. Can he eventually turn into something more than that? I don't want to hold anybody back. Maybe he can, but from what I've seen, I just don't think he's that. Especially with the way the game is changing, I just don't think he's the guy for us. But hey, if he gets in the game, I'm gonna be rooting for him, unless it's a situation where we need draft picks, and I'm like, yo, bro, slow your roll.
Yeah, man. We'll see how it shakes out. But if you haven't already, make sure to click and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, I guess this would be a good time, right? It's a good segue, man. Let's just the elephant in the room, man. And the reason we're talking about it, I know like the other day I was like, man, I'm kind of done talking about it, but it's just every day new stuff is coming out and people, and then I'm not gonna lie, there's someone adds something to the conversation. In this case, let's see if I can play the clip, but in this case, Mike Florio, he was talking about the Christian Wilkins situation, and what he had to say was that, Adam Schefter might be a little bit compromised. In that, like, it just didn't sound right. And I know, and it didn't sound right to me for this whole situation. And I'm not saying it's no reason why he got released, but they're saying, I'm sure this news coming out about it, they're trying to say, oh, this also contributed to the Christian Wilkins, whatever's going on with Christian Wilkins. he kissed someone in the on his forehead, and then that caused everybody all mayhem to go loose. Someone report him to HR and all that type of crazy stuff. But even Mike Florio was like, nah, that's not the truth. And this is coming from Adam Schefter, who's obviously a guy that's respected around the industry. But what Mike Florio has to say, let me see if I could play the clip here. And I sent it to Severe, right? I think you.
Yeah.
Let me see if you can hear it.
The reality here is Christian Wilkins is looking for a job, and the reality here is Christian Wilkins has representation.
Yes.
That is charged with finding him a job. So what do? You work the angles, you work your sources. Let's call it what it is. David Mulugeta represents Christian Wilkins. He's working Shefty to get Shefty to put a story out there that is favorable to Christian Wilkins.
Seems
Let's
like
just
it.
say what that is.
Like it, right.
Let's put a favorable story out there so someone else will pay him a lot of money. That's how it works. That's how. And so why does the reporter do it? Because it pays off on the back end. For example, when Micah Parsons signs his contract, Schefter may be the first one to report it now because it's same agent representing both guys. That's the transactional nature of the insider game. Every once in a while, you eat a little shit. You push something that may not be accurate, or you let somebody tell you a lie that you put out there because you know they'll owe you one, and they'll make it up to you on the back end because that other stuff doesn't really get noticed and scrutinized the way it should. That happens. That's a game, and he's not the only one that plays it. They all play it, and it's one of the reasons why I don't. That bubbled up yesterday.
Right.
Because Shefty was on with Pat McAfee, and he said the thing that no one will talk about or that everyone's dancing around is that Christian Wilkins kissed a teammate on the forehead, and the teammate was offended and went to HR. And look, that's not the story that's making the rounds.
No.
And the story that's making the rounds is not ready to be reported or explained because people are keeping their mouths shut. But the idea that a football player went to another football player and playfully kissed him on the forehead, and that player went to HR.
Yeah.
And that in some way contributed to that. That's never happened.
Challenge flag.
That defies logic and common sense.
Bro, did y'all hear that? Hopefully y'all heard that. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, man. That was like a minute and 30 seconds. If y'all didn't hear that, I've been hella mad. No, but
I would say something.
yeah, all right, for sure. All right, so hey, man, he makes. I'm kind of with Florio on this one. This one makes a lot of sense because for Schefter to come out and say that it was just that, and we were hearing all types of smoke that it was something way bigger than just what he reported on by saying that it was a kiss on the forehead, and he made sure to say that it was playful, and the teammate kind of took it another way, and yada yada yada. Like, I'm with Florio in that, like, I think it's bigger than that. I think there's more to it than that. I think there's but it hasn't come out yet for whatever reason. People don't want it out. I guess, it's they just don't want it out yet. And I think, and this is true. I think even Stephen A. Smith, I heard him say this, and I've heard this from like other insiders. Like, this is how it works. Like, this is how insiders get information. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's like, you know what I mean? That's how it works. Like, they're gonna push something out for you to make you look good in the eyes of the public, and then later on, if there's a trade rumor or whatever the case may be, they'll be able to get the first dibs on that. And I think that's how it works, and I agree with that. What are your thoughts on this, Primos? I mean, do you think that like this? Are you with Mike Florio? Because I know a lot of Raider fans is kind of like. They like, I don't know.
I'm trying to think, what is Severe doing here? He's like showing off.
That's what I think of what Mike Florio said. I'll let you go, Primos. This is what I think about Mike Florio saying. But you go ahead and go.
Okay.
You go ahead and go.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say.
No, I agree. I mean, we talked about it last week that there had to be something more to it, and this was before even Adam Schefter said that. That it was a kiss
bro.
before
That's
it.
Pause.
And then Adam Schefter comes out with that, and I even take it like just that, like because he did that when he was in Miami. There was a photo out there of him doing it to Hunter Renfrow, I believe, after a game. So I feel like there is something more than that, and I'll leave it to there's going to be more truth that's going to come out. I said that last week, and same as you, Pharaoh, I was thinking like, okay, this is going to be the last time I speak about it. But yeah, with what's coming out and probably more to come, it's gonna be a story that it's gonna be elephant in the room. Something we have to talk about.
Yeah, hey Daniel Kim, I gotta check that out. I seen it. I seen the that he released something. I gotta check that out. But Severe, man, you're basically saying it's cap. Is that what you're trying to?
That's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life, bro. Like it's big. Like, is there a horse trading with sources? Yes, but a guy like Adam Schefter is not going to put his credibility on the line with a story this big, pushing a false narrative. Not with this kind of story. No, he's not going to put his credibility out there and be publicly embarrassed, being the first guy to go out on the ledge and say this is it's not like he said, I'm hearing this is what happened. I'm like, my sources tell me, the rumblings from the Raiders. He said, this is what happened. So he's not going to go out on that limb to get details on a Micah Parsons contract. What? Like, that ain't no story. Like, these are the stories you want. If you're going to do some horse trading, you do your horse trading so you get inside information on the salacious stories. These are the stories that are going to draw attention. Nobody gives a damn about Micah Parsons signing the highest. Like, everybody knows he's going to sign that contract eventually. Nobody gives a damn about who comes first, who comes second. If you trust Adam Schefter, you follow Adam Schefter, he's going to be the guy that comes across your feed. Like, these are the stories you want. So if you're going to trade on some information, you're going to trade on a smaller story so you get the information first on this kind of story. Like, you're not the opposite way around. And the fact that he's using this to get a big contract from another team as if executives around the league and agents and players and their agents don't talk, like, that's like, everybody talks. There are already rumors about something more serious. So you think the other teams won't know the real information? Like, that doesn't make any sense. If you believe this is what's happening, I got some beachfront property in Iowa to sell you because it's a load of bull.
Yeah, well, hold on. Come on, I gotta slow you down there because at the end of the day, like, why are there some insiders, you know what I mean, like Adam Schefter, why is he first to break the news? Why is he? Because you're making the point that they all know this information, but there's gonna be the one that breaks the news. That's the point. There's gonna be that one.
That's the point. So you want to have that story. That's the story you want. So you don't want to jump out in front on this story. These are the stories that are going to be. Nobody's going to remember who broke Micah Parsons' contract first. Nobody's going to break who, the Kolton Miller, who broke the story on Kolton Miller signing. Nobody's going to remember that, but everybody's going to remember that it was Adam Schefter that jumped out on the ledge and said, this is what happened with Christian Wilkins. That hurts your credibility in the industry, and that can mess up your reputation as a reporter. You think he's going to go out, jump on a limb to get another smaller story later on? Like that, just the math, just logically, that don't make no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, is it a possibility that his source lied to him? That's a possibility, but this is not the kind of, like, you don't trade from a Ferrari to a Benz. Like, that does, like, like that, you don't trade down, you trade up. So a contract story is not going to be what you put your reputation on the line for. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, but you're missing the point of what was being said. I think the point he's trying to say is that he was trying to explain what these insiders actually do. This is how what they do behind the scenes. This is how they are the ones to break the news. There's a little bit of give and take, like the insider will put out something that will benefit a certain whatever agent that was able to provide them that news. And then on the back end, that agent represents multiple clients. And some of those multiple clients are going to have
I get that. That's that. The point is that you don't trade down. You use those other smaller stories, the small potatoes, to be the first to get the information on a national story. You don't use a national story and ruin your reputation to get contract details. Like that. That's backwards. Okay. So that's where it's not adding up.
So let me ask you this though, Severe. All right. Because let me just ask you straight up. Do you believe that the whole situation was because teammate kissed, or Christian Wilkins kissed a teammate on the forehead? Do you believe that? That's exactly what happened, and that's the reason why.
I believe that was the last straw. There's probably other troubling behavior, but I believe that was probably the last straw. But if a guy made a big enough fuss about it and about the Raiders not doing about it, a guy could threaten a lawsuit. And you can give. We've seen high value people be released from their jobs because of sexual harassment. You know, we've seen it with Bill O'Reilly. We've seen it with other people. I'm trying to think of some other high profile people. We've seen highest paid people in companies, people that draw all the ratings, the stars of their industry, be destroyed or lose high profile jobs because of sex. I mean, it's not the exact same, but Acho and all of them fools is gone because of salacious behavior going on over at FS1, right? So we've seen this kind of stuff. Be like, you know what? Hey, you might be the highest rated show or one of the highest rated shows. We're getting all y'all up out of here just because of the stigma that you guys bring. So if it's something like that going on in the locker room and there are leaders that are expecting something to be done, then the Raiders got to do something, especially if it's more than one person coming saying like, yo, we can't keep having this behavior going. And I'm sure he was doing we've seen him do some stuff. And I'm probably more people were uncomfortable about it, but I think that was probably, and Adam Butler looks like the kind of guy, he's a no nonsense person. I think he comes from a very religious background. He's also coming from a military family, so he's not going to tolerate the alternative lifestyle. So he probably made a bigger fuss than other people about it.
Look. You even said that there's more to it than you basically said what I was basically alluding to. You implied that there was more to it than just a kiss on the head. That was probably one of the things that he did, but it was one of probably other.
Bigger than the kiss. That's the thing. I think that was the. I think like the stuff people are insinuating. I don't think it got higher than that.
This is the first time I've ever heard that an NFL player called human resources. I'm sure it's happened before, but I've never heard it reported to this level, saying that. So I've never heard that before. And the reason why is because, I'm not going to act like I'm in a player's locker room, but I feel like the locker room kind of handles this type of stuff. You know what I mean? The coaches, the locker room, they kind of they kind of handle it internally. But I've never heard, HR was like in the end, like it just sounds weird. Like HR, I understand that it's also $1 million, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company, and I get it. These guys paying millions, HR, but I just never heard HR, NFL locker room players reporting. I just never heard that connected ever to this effect. So I'm just saying. I mean, someone says Miami situation a few years back. Did they mention HR? I wouldn't put it past that Richie and Kanaki. It was kind of that was a random. That was a weird situation. Yeah.
That was weird. That was a weird situation. That was a weird situation.
Yeah. So
it was like the story came out. It was the mom, and it was all kind of weird stuff. All kind of weird stuff going on with that situation.
Yeah. And then you also mentioned that some people were saying Adam Butler was the one that obviously was the person that Christian Wilkins was messing with. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe because I feel like Adam Butler made that comment the other day just about mental health, and I think people were like, "Oh, it was Adam Butler." Like, why didn't you say it before he made that comment? Like, it was just. Now I don't even know what to believe. Yeah. So it is what it is.
That's where I'm at. I gotta like sit back and just watch what comes out because who knows what really what happened behind closed doors, and it's only the people involved in HR. And I'm